Good evening, everybody. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to the final PSGL race before Christmas. This is the F7 tier, and it is round 3 out of 12 in the championship, the Belgian Grand Prix. Slightly different commentary lineup tonight. As you might have already guessed, Jake is taking a bit of a break, so best wishes to him. But you've got myself making a bit of a trip over from F3, Luke Etheridge, and alongside me is the F2 lead commentator, Jess. How are you doing, Jess?
This morning, but apart from that, I'm really excited to commentate on the highest assist here on a Sunday night. Should be very interesting. We're around the Ardennes Forest, situated at Spa-Francorchamps. First Grand Prix was hosted back in 1950, and a lot of interesting races happened since then, including the 1998 one. Don't want to go too much into detail about that, but it should be very, very exciting race, this one, and it could throw some interesting weather conditions as well.
Yeah, that is always a possibility at Spa. The weather can always play a part. It can always play a part at Silverstone as well, where the last race was. But it ended up being a perfectly dry qualifying and a perfectly dry race. And it was Tionis who took his first victory of the season, consolidating that second place he got in Australia. So he is now 3 points ahead of Felix, who finished in third. Morgan got a second position. There were some good results as well. Hulkenberger getting his first points of the season. Sam also getting his first points of the season. But because he picked up a 5-second penalty in the stewards for cutting over that pit entry line, what he thought was 6th place ended up being in 8th. So it is Tionis, Felix, Morgan, Timats and Juice who are the top 5 in the Drivers' Championship at this moment in time. And in the Constructors' Championship, it is currently Racing Point looking really good. 39 points. Williams on 26, Ferrari 17, Haas on 12 and Alfa Romeo on 11, rounding out the top 5 in that. So you've got to say, Tionis and Felix looking really well, and Morgan getting a podium in the only race he's done. So I know it's very early days still, but they'll be hoping that they can really lay a marker down tonight in the last race before the Christmas break.
Really got to get a good race in before the Christmas break, really, because if you don't have a good race in either Austria, Britain or Belgium, then your momentum is going to be really, really bad going into the first race back after Christmas, which is a bit of a shame. So I think this is a track where most people love. I like it. I think you like it as well, and the drivers like it as well. This is where we saw Charles Leclerc took his first ever victory last year in real life as well, and that was really quite emotional as well. I think nobody wanted Charles Leclerc not to win. I think everyone wanted Charles Leclerc to actually win that race as well. I wonder if we'll see a Ferrari win that one tonight. We'll have to wait and see. Morgan got his first podium, like I said last week. Maybe he could be the one that replicates Charles Leclerc's fortunes last year.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. So the drivers just get ready to start their first laps, and we'll take you on board with 3 gloves then for a lap around this circuit. Picked up a 5th position last time out. We'll see how we can do at Spa. DRS open then as you head down towards a hairpin at La Source. Not really a long run down towards the first corner, so don't expect to see loads of overtaking into turn 1. You might see quite a bit of slipstreaming though down towards Eau Rouge here and Radion. A fearsome corner, especially in the wet. 3 gloves dealing it well, and then you've got this long flat out run down the Kemmel Straight. It's one of the longest flat out runs in Formula 1 from the bottom of the hill to La Source all the way up to the top of the hill at Lecombe here. And 3 gloves breaking very late there. A sub 30-second first sector, always a pretty decent start to the lap. He's coped fine with Lecombe and Malmedy, heading back downhill now towards Bruchel. Not really an overtaking point, but sometimes in the race, if a driver does one ride, you can get an opportunity through there. Through the Jackie Hicks corner now, one way you do see the drivers invalidating quite a lot. 3 gloves deciding to err on the side of caution at this stage in the session, and then Pouhon just a slight dab on the brakes. Be careful you don't hit that inside curb on the first part of Pouhon, and he's now heading towards the campus chicane. Quite a medium speed chicane. It's very easy to lose it on the exit. Just ask Antonio Giovinazzi. Now heading towards the final part of the lap through Circuit Paul Fair corner, heading now up towards Stavelot, and then it's just a flat out run up towards Blanchimont. Again, one of those corners where in old Formula 1 cars was really a test of the driver's bravery. Not so much now, with Bando Blitz looks to have gone off at the exit of Pouhon. We now head towards the bus stop chicane, reprofiled for the 2005 race to just resemble more of a normal chicane at this moment in time. And we'll see what sort of lap it is from 3 gloves at this moment. It is a 142.218. Pretty respectable first run, but it did look as though there were Few corners there where he took it slightly easy. Obviously just wanting to get a clean run in. Because it is such a long track, can't really afford to make too many mistakes in qualifying.
No, definitely not as well. And yeah, they're pretty good banker times already, as we're already seeing people into the 141s. I thought they would have to wait for a little bit to see that, but we can already see Sam going to the top of the timing sheet in the AlphaTauri with a 144.6 and 141.6, sorry. And I was watching the F8 stream of qualifying just before F7, just to have an idea of what the pole time was. It was set by Cam with a 141.2, so I'm expecting to probably be in the towards the 141s, maybe into the 140s if people are lucky, because we know with ABS it is allowed in this league, so it can be very powerful around here, as there's a few people taking an escape road there at the moment. I do believe Hulkenberger and Juice has just invalidated their lap times because they're on one lap of softs and they're backing out their laps. So yeah, they have invalidated their previous ones. Not looking good for them right now, but yeah, it's got Sam in first, Ogie in second, and Tom AJ in third.
Yeah, John is in for 3 gloves fifth. Got a few drivers setting times on the mediums, Fury, Lando and Powder. You would expect most people, though, to try and set a time on a soft. It is a pretty standard one-stop strategy around the Spa circuit. We'll see what Morgan can do. Came onto the scene last time around with a second place. Can he back that up at the moment as Morgan heads towards the finish line? Fantastic lap from him in the Ferrari, a 141.506. He did mention that Hulkenberger and Juice invalidated their laps. It looks like the other Ferrari of TV Sen has also invalidated. It's very difficult with the bus stop chicane. If you invalidate there, you basically ruined 2 laps and wasted a set of tyres and at least 3.5 minutes of your time.
It does depend on what type of selection you actually go for in this Belgian track as well. I know a lot of people would go balanced, I would say, because of the nature of El Rouge, Radion and the Kemmel Street as well. They don't want to take any risk, but with the softer selection, they have 4 runs. With the balance, they only have 3 soft runs plus 1 medium, same with the harder as well. So that's probably why Paldi and Lando are on the mediums, so at least to get a feel for the track, and then they'll have enough time to go on the softs if they want to and get 3 runs in. Everybody else is probably going to just spread it out a little bit if they're on the balanced option at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. It really will only at a push get three hot runs in. You might be able to squeeze in a second lap on one of them runs, but you'll be really cutting it fine for any time in the pits. And if you get any damage on your car, it's pretty much going to be game over for getting an extra run. So it's Morgan, Sam, Oogie, Tom, Felix, your top 5 at the moment. Our current championship leader is Chionis. He is in 6th place at the moment. And those top 2 looking pretty handy, over a quarter of a second ahead of the 2 Haas cars on the second row of the grid. We'll see what Mark can do. He's the only driver out there at the moment on a hot lap time. We can see the yellow flag in sector 3. I think that's one of the Ferraris just heading back towards the pit lane. I imagine that's either going to be Morgan or TV Sen just heading back, making sure they get back in time. We'll see what Mark is doing at the moment. It's looking like he's got quite good speed in that Mercedes, and that's always a bit of a compromise you've got to make around this circuit. Sectors 1 and Sector 3, all about having good mechanical grip through La Source and bus stop and good straight line speed. Sector 2, you really need that downforce though, especially through Pujon.
So as well, especially with the understeer the drivers get as well, heading towards the corner of No Name and heading into Pujon as well. I think a lot of drivers find it tricky as well, and hopefully for Mark's sake, he has a better race than the last race he competed in Austria, where unfortunately he had a DNF in his first race, which is not the best way to start the season for him, but it's an opportunity for him to start afresh before the Christmas break and see what he could do. Maybe starting last may not be the bad thing around here, but he wants to get a good lap in anyways. He heads towards Blanchimont now as well. 9 minutes left to go. There's more people setting on their second runs then pretty early on, as they want to try and get their final run in pretty soon as well, as it is quite close already between, I would say, first place all the way down to 10th and 11th, separated by a second, as Mark comes across the line. No invalidation for him right now in the bus stop, taking it nice and well, but I think he could have found a little bit more time. Come across the line, that puts in P13. Yeah,
P13 for him. Like you said, it's not a disaster if you start outside of the top 10. You will do, of course, get that free choice of tyres, which you'd imagine would be the mediums for most of the drivers. But also, it is very possible to overtake around here. DRS in 2 places on the way up to on the way up to La Source and also on the Long Kemmel Straight as well. We have got a yellow flag in sector... We had a yellow flag there in sector 2. I'm not sure who it was. I think it might have been Poldy. I don't know whether he's gone off on his outlap or he was just stopped in the middle of the circuit for some reason, because he doesn't look to have any damage.
Yeah, he's on his outlap. So I think he was just moving out of the way because there was a few people. I think it was, it's not Mark, it's the other Mercedes of Nick Mania who was on. And I think they must have thought they were all on a flyer, but they weren't. So that's something that people have just got to be aware of, really. It's hard when you're on the track to know if they're on outlaps or not, but you just move out the way anyway. If you're on an outlap, it's common courtesy, really. If you're not sure, move out the way anyway. No harm done, and you won't get a penalty for it if you block them in qualifying. Yeah, that's what Paldi has done, and he's on to start his lap as well as the Mercedes.
Yeah, so they're starting their lap now. Tom's going to be one of the first ones across the line as Nick Mania's left the session. We've got quite a bit of support for him in the chat as well, so that's a bit of a shame to see him currently in 10th position. Hopefully he will be able to get back in. What sort of time is Tom AJ setting then as he comes through out Blanchimont? We didn't quite catch his first 2 sector times. Doesn't need much of an improvement though to just head above his teammate and get into that 1 minute 41. Keeping it nice and steady. A slight lock up of the front right brake, but you'll get away with that. He made it to the apex nice and comfortably, and this looks like a very handy lap indeed. Goes into second with a 1:41.549 as we've got Vapor Zero has also gone up into 7th. So a very good lap from the Haas car. You would expect to see improvements, obviously, as the track evolves.
Definitely, and especially as the track temperature starts to increase a little bit as well. But you wouldn't want to be qualifying in 7th, 8th, 9th or 10th if I were you, because you're so close to the alternate strategy drivers. As Frankie has had a little bit of a spin on his outlap, and unfortunately he just missed the pit lane as well. So he'll have to basically just go into the pits very quickly and try and get his final run done at the moment. But yeah, well, as I was saying, if you want to get a good lap in, the top 5 is where you really want to be if you want to be in the top 10. As Juice goes on pole at the moment, this is more like it. Ogie is M goes on pole at 1.413. We are starting to see times closer to what we are expecting to be in S7. Don't forget, this is the highest assist league on a Sunday night where you could use any assist possible required in the league, because we are welcome like that. On the Monday leagues, you're only allowed to use Racing Line or for F1 and F2, no assists at all. So yeah, we will start to see the times start to increase in that regard as well. But yeah, Juice looking quite close as well. Juice almost thought he had it in the bag, but then Oogie just snatched it from his nose.
Yeah, Oogie currently on provisional pole position, but for how much longer? Because Morgan is nearly 3/10 up in that Ferrari. It is traditionally a track where Ferrari have done fairly well. Schumacher winning his 7th world title, breaking Alan Prost's win record around this circuit. Kimi Räikkönen winning around here twice, and one of those was in his championship winning year. So we'll see what Morgan can do as well. Can he get into the 1:41.2s as long as he keeps it clean through these final couple of corners, gets a bit of wheel spin on the exit? I don't think that will have cost him, and it is a 1:41.262, exactly 7 thousandths ahead of Oogie at this moment in time. Sam is just heading into the pit, so Morgan at the top of the timing charts and his teammate currently at the bottom. It's a bit like Räikkönen and Badoa back in the 2009, wasn't it, where Luca Badoa was around. But of course this time TV has yet to set a lap. Neither has Bando Blitz, who retired earlier, and another retirement we've had from the session was Furby Lando. He crashed out at the campus chicane.
And get caught in the campus chicane quite a lot. Sometimes you think people can't, but you actually can. It's just so hard just to get the traction right as well, because I know some people don't have all assists on, even though assists are allowed. Some of them don't have all of them on, so especially if you have no TC, that is where a lot of people can usually run up wide, and that could probably cause the end of that. So hopefully the ones who have retired from the session could have a better race and maybe start to climb up the field, because usually around here, last to first is usually quite possible around it. Most people actually, are going into the pits, apart from Mark, who is on his outlap about to start his slide. This is going to be his only opportunity to get a lap in, really, to be honest, unless he can get another one in. I don't think it's going to rain by the sound of it due to a few people on the medium tyres, but you never know, it could rain towards the end of the race, but I think it was completely clear in the F8 League earlier on at 7 p.m, commentated by Kryptonite, so we could see the same here tonight, being absolutely clear, but you'll never know.
Yeah, you never know around Spa. It can change at any minute. I'm sure that it's... Well, we're certain it's going to be clear for the rest of qualifying. For the race, we will have to wait and see. Who knows whether there will be a bit of rain towards the end. And there's always a risk of a safety car as well. And if you think you might just dodge the rain towards the end of the race, if a safety car comes out, then you never know. I've had that happen in round 1 around Australia, where the rain was not forecast. And then on the final lap of the race, we did just get a few sprinkles, as we'd had a fair few incidents. See what Mark can do then. Currently in 15th place. Can he keep it nice and clean? He's leaving a lot of room there in no name, so still looks as though he's a bit worried about invalidating his lap. Strict limits, of course, but definitely giving up perhaps a tenth or two on the way into that corner. And again, with the second part of poo on, he's definitely not using all of the road at the moment, so it looks as though he could, if he really wanted to, push a bit more time out of this car. We'll get to see his second sector timing point soon as he heads between Stavolo and Paul Frere. And yeah, he's only a tenth up at the moment, so this would move him just behind his teammate Nick Mania, who thankfully has been able to get into the session. 2.5 minutes remaining. It is Morgan, Oogie Azim, Juice, Sam and Tom, your top 5 at the moment, separated by just over a quarter of a second. Chionis and Felix currently first and second in the championship. They're the other drivers in the 1 minute 41s at the moment. What sort of time can Mark do? It's probably going to be his final run in qualifying, and he does move up into 14th, just behind his teammate on a 1:42.473. We are now seeing most of the field come out for their final runs.
Because we retired on track, and I don't think you're meant to be retiring on track, so I think the stewards will have a little bit of a look into that one. Actually, I'm not sure it's written into the rule book, I think, as well, so that's probably why the stewards will be investigating it, but that's probably why Mark has done it in the first place. But yes, 1 minute and 40 left to go. There's quite a few cars, I think, going through, I would say, Lecom as well, and just about to start their lap as well, so not as much traffic as I would be expecting, thank goodness. Or for all of these drivers, they've got to have gone out at pretty much an early time compared to these other tracks, because for places like obviously Italy, where we're going to later on in the season, I think it's round 5, and places like France, for example, you can get out a bit later, whereas here you have to leave it as early as you possibly can. And also Singapore, you have to leave it as early as we possibly can. Singapore is the second half of the season, and I don't think these guys are looking forward to that, but this is just a huge test on how they can cope long circuits like this 7 kilometer one we can see at the moment. We're seeing yellow flags everywhere, to be honest, but they're just moving out of the way at the moment. 50 seconds to go. It is crunch time. Who's going to get pole position here? Well, it may not be Morgan, as he's still in the pit, so Oogie and Juice, and maybe Sam, Jonas and Felix, they could jump up the field, and possibly Tom. Pretty much anyone in the top 10, to be honest, if I were them.
Yeah, looks like, I guess, Morgan then, as he retires from the session in the pits, that maybe he's gone for the balanced setup, but he doesn't want to use another set of the soft tyres. He wants to keep an extra set fresh for the race for whatever reason whatsoever. You can see the two Williams are fairly close on track, so you might be thinking, maybe there's going to be some teamwork, maybe there's going to be some slipstreaming. That is not allowed by the league, so Funky's not going to be able to get any assistance off Felix, although I'm sure Felix is thinking more about his own lap at the moment than his teammate Tom. Then is going to be the first driver across the line to finish the session, as the checkered flag does come out here at Spa. So qualifying is over for round 3. All the drivers, apart from 4, on their last laps at the moment, and Tom's quickly decided that he wasn't improving, so he's out of the session. Funky, he must have been validated as well, or coming through Oru, so he won't be setting another time. We'll see what Vapor Zero can do in the Red Bull. Shoots himself up to 7th position at this moment in time. Oogie Azim is 2 tenths up, though, on Morgan's time. If he has an absolute flyer through this final sector, we could even see a 1 minute 40. Let's see how he does through the bus stop. Extremely late on the brakes, gets away with it, though, in that Haas car. A bit of wheel spin again, a bit of over rotation on his way through the final chicane, but a 1:41.083. That is a fantastic time from him. Timat goes into 9th place. Sam has invalidated his time, so he won't be able to make an improvement. We'll see what Juice can do. Currently 3rd on the grid. Can he maybe get himself onto the front row ahead of Morgan in that Ferrari? Comes across towards the finish line. Can't quite do it. Does have a slight improvement, though. Chionis has also invalidated, as has Felix. Hulkenberger goes up into 8th position. don't think there's many more out there on a lap. You have got Nick Mania improving. He's in 14th. Wouldn't expect him, though, to get pole position at this moment in time. So it does look as though Ugi Azim has got pole position at this round and will have a fantastic view towards La Source on lap 1.
He's got Elliott, to be honest, as well, but Morgan has done an okay job getting his car into P2 as well. And usually, sometimes P2 may have the best run into turn 1 around here, as I find usually when I race around this track too. But to be honest, it depends on the strategy. To be honest, if the weather changes or anything like that, if Morgan can actually deliver as well as Ugi as well. So pretty much the top 3 are definitely in a good position. The gap separating almost 2/10 of a second between Ugi and Morgan, so pretty impressive as well. But Juice, out of the championship contenders, if I just look at the things, Juice is the one that's ahead of, ahead of Felix and Jonas. But Morgan is ahead of both Felix and Jonas on track at the moment. So if I was Jonas and Felix, I would be slightly worried at the moment, and I'll let you take us through the results.
Yeah, so the results then of qualifying here at Spa before the Belgian Grand Prix. It is Ugi Azim on pole position. Morgan deciding not to go out for that final run. Saved himself a set of tyres, but cost himself pole position. Juice, Sam and Tom round out the top 5. Our championship leader is in 6. It is Zero, Hulkenberger, Felix and Game Freaker in the top 10. Nick Mania will have a fresh choice of tyres, as will Timmats, Free Gloves, Frunky, Mark, Porter, Fury, Lando, Bando, Blaze and TB Sen. All of them getting the fresh choice of tyres, and that can be quite important at times around some circuits. Perhaps not so much at Spa. Might just depend on if there's any incidents or accidents on lap 1.
Yeah, indeed, the tyre deck not too bad around here. They bring the lowest tyres to the Pirelli range, the C3s, the C2s and the C1s, the soft, mediums and the hards especially. And the softs can last up to 9 laps around here. And because it's 7 kilometers per lap, 9 laps doesn't fit, it's very long. So that means they can go a long further into this race. Maybe lap 8 potentially is when most people would go in, or maybe lap 7 for the undercut. We'll have to wait and see. But if they get damage in lap 1, it's not too bad. The hards last 19 laps around this track. To say if they mess up around lap 3, they can go onto the hards until the end of the Grand Prix. I strongly think, and I'm probably going to predict this, and I know people are going to hate me, there might be a safety car around here. I've seen it in lots of the other tiers this week in PSGL. I think yours was one of them, I think, Luke. I won't be surprised if we see one tonight.
Mine was definitely one of them. I definitely caused one of the safety cars. I can tell you that. One of the many drivers over the years who's got it wrong at Eau Rouge, and getting it wrong around what is quite a fearsome circuit. This Spa-Francorchamps circuit, much shorter than it used to be, but it is still a 7-kilometre beast through the Ardennes Forest with 19 turns, 2 DRS zones, one on the run down to La Source, one on the run down to Lacombe, and you can see there quite an undulating circuit, quite a challenging circuit. And that is why the drivers love it so much. As we have a look at what tyres everyone has gone for in this session, we knew what the top 10 were on. Outside the top 10, it is Mark, Furlando and TB Sen on the soft tyres. Everyone else going for the mediums. No real surprises there.
Mediums and softs work out really well for you outside the top 10, but I think Mark, Furlando and TB Sen are probably thinking something outside the box there. They may get a good start at the start, but towards the end, that is where they're going to struggle, because everybody else around them is going to be on the red striped soft tyres, where they can really go guns a-blazing from around about, I would say, lap 12, 13 onwards, which will be great to see. But yeah, I don't know why. Maybe they are taking it a lot of risks. Maybe they think they can get ahead of the guys in the top 10, which is fair enough. But we'll have to wait and see, of course. Anything can happen around Spa, as we haven't got the pit stop strategy on the screen yet, so probably we did get it right in terms of that front. But I think we can see a lot of contenders for the win today, and since it's a short calendar compared to previous seasons in PSGL, this is one of the tracks where you really need to get it right. There's no excuse on the drivers that were there last season. They have done it before. We have raced here last season in PSGL and in quite many seasons as well. The results could change in a blink of a hat, like we've seen in all tiers, I've got to say. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens. Ogie will line up on pole with Morgan on the front row. Can Morgan do what Charles Leclerc did last year and get that elusive win that he desperately needed after a really good showing last week in, I can't remember what track it was, but yeah. Anyway, we've got a few disqualifications from the formation, that Nick Mania and Tim Matt. I wonder if they had it coming together there.
I imagine they did. It's not really a disaster. By the time you've got to Blanchimont, you really want to have warmed your tyres up. I suppose the only problem with that is you don't get that bit of braking into bus stop where the AI has taken over anyway at that point. But not too much of a disaster, as we do see Morgan coming into second place on the grid. And like you said at the end of qualifying, that is not too bad around here. You're probably not going to get the run down into turn 1, but you can get one heck of a slipstream all the way through Eau Rouge, Radion, and down the Kemmel Straight towards Lecombe. TB Sen then just coming in to the final place of the grid. We're going to have 19 runners here, and very shortly the lights will come on at Spa-Francorchamps. Who is going to be coming into the Christmas break feeling absolutely ecstatic? We've got 5 lights and we're underway. What are the starts like? Quite a bit of wheel spin there from the Ferrari of Morgan, and that's going to give Juice a chance to maybe get down the inside. In fact, we're 3 wide into turn 1 here. Never mind leaving it all the way till Lecombe. There's all sorts of battling and front wings and carnage going on there, and it is Morgan who's just managed to get himself ahead. Udi is in second place. Juice hanging on to that third place. Vapor and Sam going side by side on their run up towards Lecombe on coming through Radion there. Tioni's having a big slide in the background as well, the championship leader, and now we've got Vapor in the slipstream. You've got Ogie and Morgan trying to go side by side at Lecombe, but it's the Ferrari hangs on to the lead of this race. Haas driver in second, Juice is third, Vapor is fourth.
Huge pile up. I think Lando lost it there, I think, into Lecombe as well, and that's caused the VSC, and also Nick Mania was involved in that as well. And apart from the loss of end plate from the Racing Point, everyone seemed to make it cleanly through turn 1. There was a few people that went off track, but then once they got into Lecombe, that was a different story. So we were hoping Nick Mania was going to have a good race. He hasn't even finished that one, and he's retired from the race. That's going to disappoint many Nick Mania fans in the chat.
Yeah, please don't leave us. You're still going to get a fantastic race, even though your man is unfortunately out of the race, the big loser. That looked like a huge accident at Malmedy, I've got to say for him. Oogie's actually managed to pick up a penalty. I can only imagine that's already, he's got a 3-second time penalty already for either that's corner cutting or picking up 3 warnings this early on. It's an extremely strange situation. So not a great start for our pole sitter, who did lose 1 position. This does seem like quite a long virtual safety car, although you can see them just pick up the throttle ever so slightly there. So we are back underway again. Biggest winner on lap 1 was Ferry Lando, despite being involved in all of that chaos at the start. He's trying to have a go at our championship leader here, Tionis. Can't get the move done. Sam, though, he can. He's going all the way around the outside at the bus stop chicane. Can't quite get himself ahead of Vapor. Is Tionis around? Has Tionis had a problem? No, he's coming into the pit. Sorry, our championship leader. I did see an end plate flying, and I did think it looked a bit pink, so maybe, just maybe, a bit of a problem for our championship leader. He finished second in Australia, he finished first in Silverstone. He's going to have a job on his hands to get a podium here.
Yeah, and it's all about consistency in F7 and in all the tiers as well. And to be honest, John is going to have a hard task to try and get those hards to the end. If there's a safety car, there's probably going to be a saving grace for the Racing Point driver. Apart from that, he's going to be a lot slower for pretty much the whole of this Grand Prix, but at least he doesn't have to pit again, to be honest. I think he could stretch out and save it 1 more lap of tyres there at this moment in time. Free Gloves has also come into the pits, doing the same strategy as John is after his damage in lap 1. He's onto the hard tyres as well. I think, to be honest, you would only touch the hard tyres if you are in some sort of issues. Also, the other Mercedes is not having a good day either. It's gone from bad to worse from the team down in Bratley. Mark's down in 16th place at the moment. I can't see the deltas at the moment, so I don't know who's battling and who's not, but I do know TB Sen is having a very good start of this race. He's already right back at the back of Tim Matt. Don't forget, TB Sen started from last place, and I did say it wasn't bad to start at the back in Belgium, and he's definitely proved us right there.
Yeah, doing pretty well. He's managed to work his way up on those soft tyres, using them to great effectiveness in the first lap. Perhaps after the VSC, he's been able to get them warmed up a bit quicker as well. We did see Sam go for a move on Vapor earlier, and it didn't quite work out, as I think Mark's had another problem, and now Sam is all over the back of Vapor. Tom has managed to get past the pair of these, so it's been a very good start of the race for the Haas team at the moment as Morgan sets the fastest lap now. DRS will be enabled. We might start seeing that slipstreaming down the Kemmel Straight that we've been promising from the start. Morgan, though, he's trying to check out in these early stages, pushing those soft tyres extremely hard. I'd be surprised if at this pace he can take them any longer than lap 7, if I'm being honest, especially after starting the race on those tyres. Is Oogie far enough ahead of Juice to just hold on to that second position? Is Juice far enough ahead of Tom to hold on to third position? It doesn't look like these guys are battling. Game Freaker, though, is having a big battle with Sam. Tries to go around the outside into Lacombe. Can't get the move done. His teammate Hulkenberger, though, is battling with Ferry Lando, and the McLaren just holding on to that place. Mark has retired from the pit, so it's been an absolute disaster, like you said, for the Brackley team. End of lap 2, both of their cars are out of the race as Felix now battling with Game Freaker. Game Freaker trying to have a go at the AlphaTauri earlier. Is he going to be able to go side by side through Poo1? No, he gives up in the end, decides to think better of that. Live to fight another day, and that is Felix up to 7th.
Important because he wants to be ahead of his nearest championship rival, of course, which is Jonas, who's pitted quite early on as well. So Felix must be loving the life, being ahead of his rival, but he's still got Morgan to contend with as well, and he's going to be worried that the gap between Morgan and him are going to start to close in all of a sudden. Right now, as Game Freaker again looking right on the back of Felix. We've got some battles happening near the front as well. It's battles galore here at the moment. It's Sam. Is he going to try and do the move that he couldn't do a few laps ago? He's going early in the bus stop chicane. Well, I don't think he's just going to have the run. I think Vapor Zero has defended that quite nicely as well. And Felix is still on the back of this as well. The more these guys are battling, the more that everyone behind them is going to start catching up as well. And already Morgan is out of DRS range by 2 seconds. He's crawled off a really good gap for the car behind. He's just nailed the track to perfection at the moment. And then he's just liking his consistent laps at the moment. Tom AJ in 4th place at the moment, 2 tenths behind his nearest rival, Juiced as well. He's going to get the DRS, but it's hard to follow cars around in Belgium, and that is why Tom could not get past at this stage. You've got to be about a few tenths to make a difference, as TB saying gets a move past Tim Matt for P12, and we also got, it's Ferry Lando that's went off for Hulkenberger, and he's reset to track as Funky and Tim Matt almost had to come together. TB said there's just chaos happening towards the back of the field in F7 at the moment.
Yeah, I think Ferry Lando tried to hold on to that place when it was probably a bit lost. Had to hop over the curb, and then not sure if he did make contact with the side of Hulkenberg or just lost it going over the curb. The end result, though, is he's down to 15th. TB Sen was all over the back of Funky and Tim Mats earlier with that slight escapade over Lacombe, over the sleeping policeman. He's now back down to 13th, and soon going to start to become hard on those soft tyres. He's really difficult in the DRS train anyway, as Pordy thinks about having to go on Funky. Funky just locking up ever so slightly, and Pordy has to stay behind. So there's a few gaps starting to appear. We know Morgan has checked out. Now that Ferry Lando's made a mistake, Hulkenberger seems to be completely on his own, 2 seconds behind his teammate, 3 seconds behind these drivers on the medium tyres, who, if anything, just need to keep it clean at the moment, because they're planning to go to around lap 13, lap 14, you'd say, in this race, and they don't want to have to make an early stop for a front wing.
No, they don't, and that's going to hinder their strategy as well, because if they start to pit on the soft tyres and if they get damaged before, then it's not going to last long either. You either have the mediums or the hards. Someone's gone off, I think.
Yeah, Pordy's gone around there. I think him and TB Sen just got caught a bit together on the exit of the bus stop, and Bando Biz, to be fair to him, said there's a gap there, I'll decide to take it. And I'm not sure whether there was any contact or not. Thankfully for Pordy, though, he has avoided what we were just talking about, and he hasn't damaged his front wing. He's down in 15th now, and without DRS, he might find it difficult to catch back up.
I think so as well. DRS can be very, very powerful around here. Something that Ogie is having none of, and something that Juice is really going to love at the moment. Meanwhile, Tom is looking very good past Juiced at the moment. Tom up into 4th place right now. But again, it's just so much understeer that he probably got caught across, so that is why he's staying behind. Meanwhile, Sam has tried to defend from Felix there, just about defends there. But you can see Sam is coming back all over the back of Felix at the moment. Oh, and Sam spins into Poo1. That's not what he wants, and he just hits the wall there. So I think that's damage for him there. That is a shame after he started not too bad in Belgium, I've got to say. But yeah, it's gone from good to bad for the AlphaTauri drivers, and Bando Bliss is right behind him at the moment.
Yeah, and I think he will be better just getting out of the way here because he might struggle ever so slightly. With that damage, probably is going to have to come into the pits. Going too wide through Boo-on is always very difficult. Pretty much only one line, and we know if you hit that curb on the inside. I'm not sure whether Sam did hit that curb. I'm not sure whether there was any contact. Unfortunately, we couldn't see from the camera angle. There's only one result, and you do spin round. He heads into the wall, and I imagine he'll be heading to the pits for a set of the hard tyres. As Tom, that is a very early stop to what I was expecting at the end of lap 5. I was imagining cars would go on at least 1 or 2 laps longer, but Tom is into the pits. Will we even maybe see a set of hards on this rather than the mediums?
This is too early potentially as well, and I do see the red stripes hard tyres coming on this car then, so that is very interesting. Maybe he's seeing something that we're not, or maybe he thinks he can't get the mediums to the end, but if he stays on for a few laps then he could. But I think I saw Tom was struggling with the dirty air when he was following other cars, so potentially he was losing a bit of grip towards the rear of the tyre potentially as well. It could overheat quite a lot if you're stuck in dirty air around it, so he's played it safe and decided to go on the hard. It's going to last to the end, not a problem, and he's got a little bit of a buffer as well, just in case he just wants to push a little bit further towards the end. As Bando's got a penalty, so is Frankie as well. We are starting to see time penalties come left, right and centre at the moment, and around Belgium it's not really that surprising because there's a lot of places where you could pick up time penalties and warnings if you're not careful. There's a few people still on their final warning before they get a penalty, and this might hinder quite a lot of drivers' progress, and they want to keep it penalty free for as long as possible so they can benefit for the rest of this race. But meanwhile, Morgan 2.6 seconds down the road. And this battle that we're seeing at the moment between the front guys is between Juice and Ogie once again.
Yeah, interestingly, Sam did go into the pits for the medium tyres, so he's got confidence that he can get them those 17 laps that he needs to. And will we see any response then to Tom? He's currently 21 seconds off the lead. He's 19 seconds off of these drivers, and it is about a 19-second pit stop time. As there we go, Oogie does come into the pits. Juice, perhaps unsurprisingly, deciding that he will do the opposite, and I think most of the other soft runners are deciding that they're staying out as well. So Oogie, see what tyres he puts on his car, and imagine now doing that one extra lap, you can imagine you go for the mediums. They should last towards the end. The hards might feel a bit better towards the end of the stint, but you'll definitely have more pace on the mediums at this point. That looks like a very clean pit stop from the Haas crew. Will it be enough to get Oogie out ahead of Tom? I think he's just going to drop behind, and he might also behind Bordy as well, as Game Freaker works his way past My Name is Felix. He's up into 4th.
Job does the Renault driver, saving the tyres when he needed to, and when he got the job done, he got the job done, and he did a Carlos Sainz send there. Absolutely fantastic from him. His next job now is to try and get under Zero's DRS so he can try and make a move on in, but never say the impossible in S7 because anything can happen in this league, and Game Freak are looking very, very impressive in Spa as well. Felix on the comeback, so is Hulkenberg as well after starting lower down as well. He's doing a fantastic job in the other Renault as well. And it must be a thing about this track and F7s and the Renault cars, isn't it?
Yeah, they do seem to be doing pretty well at the moment in 4th and 6th place. Of course, the Haas cars, now that they've both pitted in 12th and 14th, though, on slightly different strategies. Can Oogie make up that 6 seconds? As TB said, he's pushing those soft tyres extremely hard at the moment, as you saw him get a bit of a slide on there in the dirty air of Furby Lando. They might have been fresh when he put them on the car after starting outside the top 10. They ain't exactly fresh now. He's done 6 laps on them. He's had a few little moments as well. That just puts extra wear in the tyres. We are now seeing more of the leaders come into the pit. That is 5 of the top 6. Game Freaker, the only driver then who started on the soft tyres in the top 10 to have stayed out on circuit. So he takes the lead on lap 8. Where are all these drivers going to come out relative to Oogie and Tom? Tom might just be able to jump quite a few of these drivers here. It could be pretty close with Juice on the exit of the corner. Juice isn't going to have the momentum, but he's got the medium tyres and he's got the position. May have to do some defending here though, because Tom's going to have DRS, of course, down the Kemmel Straight.
Yep, it is. Tom is actually going to be carrying that momentum into this as well. But Paldi has dropped a little bit from this train, so it's potentially going to be Tom versus Juice, and obviously TBSM versus Verylando as they head forward towards Lecom now. TBSM does a great run on Lando there, and he's up into P5 right now, and I think they want to try and get the best in lap they can so they can try and take advantage of the people that have done the undercut. Game Freak, the only other driver on the soft, still yet to pit, but yeah, Tom couldn't quite get the move done there on his rival Juice, but absolutely excellent from the Ferrari. Morgan's got to try and get past these guys now, and if I was TBSN, I would try and hold Lando up so Morgan can get past very comfortably.
Well, I don't know if he'll be needing to be honest, because I can't imagine they're going to go much longer than lap 8. I try and be a bit careful on my first set of soft tyres if I'm using them, and I wouldn't like to go further than lap 8 on a set of softs at the start of this race. Let's not forget you're putting a lot more wear in them because you've got heavy fuel at the moment, as we have got a yellow flag in sector 3, and that is Bando, who's had a huge moment from Stavolo. Another driver who's had a big moment and somehow avoids damaging their front wing. That's great news for the Alpha Tauri team, of course, after Sam's spin earlier on as Game Freaker does now come into the pits, and TBSN and Verylando doing so as well. So it's the medium runners taking the lead of this race. Timat leading from Frankie, and then Morgan, of course, who has done his first pit stop.
There's still people, I think that most people that are making their compulsory stop at the moment, with Frankie and Timat the only drivers not to right now. So let's see where Game Freaker's coming out on all of this. In 7th position, just behind Felix, but Felix is definitely using his undercut powers to his advantage then. Past the Kemmel straight, DRS wide open, getting in nice and early. Interestingly, he's not using the overtake button, as does the Williams driver, so he thinks it's going to be quite comfortable going to Lecom. It's very brave going for a move there, but yeah, it shows the undercut strategy has worked as well. Hulkenberger is trying to make a move past Ogie as well, but obviously Ogie and Hulkenberger are on different straps. Actually, no, they've pitted quite recently, so Hulkenberger is having the time of his life at the moment. Ogie must be not loving life, because he can see his rivals Morgan and Juice in net P1 and P2. It's just not going to plan his strategy anyway. It looks like the ones who pitted later, the likes of Morgan and Juice, worked wonders, whereas Ogie must have lost a bit of time there for some reason. I don't know what he did.
I think he must have been held up in the pits because he lost a lot of time to Tom, and he's lost a lot of time to Morgan as well. The gap was about, 3 seconds before the pit stop? It's all of a sudden around 10 seconds at this moment in Morgan's favour, and Ogie is just ahead of Hulkenberg. He's trying to catch back up to Vapor Zero, but he was well clear of the Red Bull earlier on, so definitely losing a bit of time in the pits. It worked out well for Game Freaker and Felix as well, so I wonder if Vapor's another driver to have lost a bit of time in all of that pit stop chaos. What could be interesting though is to see how Tom does, because he's the only one who's gone for those hard tyres who pitted at a normal time of the race, as Morgan down the inside at La Source, not even bothering for the DRS straight, gets ahead of Flunky. He is now up into second, and this will be very interesting to see whether the Williams driver tries to fight back, because this might just come back to bite Morgan at the moment, as Flunky picks up another 3-second time penalty. That is now 6 seconds for him in this race, and you can see, yeah, Flunky is well entitled to. This is for position at this moment in time. Retakes that second place. I wonder if it would have been better for Morgan to just sit back at La Source, then obviously use the slipstream, use the grip of his tyres, and get ahead through Lacombe, because he might find it a bit tough to overtake now, all the way up towards bus stop.
Up like that, it could really hinder you as well. So if I was Juice, I would try to start to catch up very quickly, and if I was Tom, maybe potentially do exactly the same thing. And Morgan, I think he's just stretching himself too thin. He knows that Funky's a bit slower as well, and is on a different strategy. We know he's got to pit. Morgan is taking a risky move there, just past Prue on there, and he said he maybe can't overtake it till the bus stop. He may do it nice and early, and he does. Nicely done for Morgan there. He was way too confident, and that really worked to his favours, as he now is in the net race lead and in P2 on track. For now, he's just showing that he's on a class of his own in the Belgian grid. He can replicate what Leclerc did last season, which will be absolutely amazing, won't it?
Yeah, I mean, we're impartial obviously, but it's always nice to see the Ferraris winning, especially after the season they've had that year. It has definitely closed the gap though, and Juice is going to have DRS on Flunky, who's going to have it obviously on Morgan as well. So this might not be over yet, and this might have just helped Juice and Tom who's definitely being helped by being in the DRS range of Juice, because that's saving him a bit on those hard tyres. Otherwise, you'd imagine you'd have Felix, Game Freaker, Zero, Azim, Hulkenberger catching up to the back of him at the moment. And as we say that, Azim does set the fastest lap of the race down in 10th position as he tries to fight his way up the order and tries to get ahead of Vapor, and that is now TB who gets that fastest lap. You do get a point, of course, for the fastest lap, but as in Formula 1, you have to finish in the top 10 to get that point. As Ugi's in the DRS, you can see here, Vapor's got no ERS, he's got nothing to defend with, and he drops down to 10th place. A very straightforward DRS pass then for Ugi, and we'll see if he has got enough pace to maybe get onto the back of the Williams and the Renault just up ahead.
He's just not losing it there after that pit stop. He's allowing the drivers like Zero to catch up to him, and Hulkenberger as well, and potentially the likes of TB Sen as well, that's also just pitted as well. But the one advantage that Vapor, Zero and Hulkenberger have, they have no penalty, so they could just stay right on the back of them and they could have a lot of favours with that. Meanwhile, we're riding on board with Juice at the moment for P3. He's probably going to take a similar move to what we did see to Morgan some time ago as well, but he's finding it a little bit harder than to what Morgan did right now, as well as Frankie is trying to close in on Juice. He doesn't care if he's on the different strategy or not. He wants to keep that position, but the more you keep that position, the more you get held up and the more you're going to drop down in the race as well, as Juice gets a 3-second time penalty just by going off that corner there as well, and Juice is picking multiple warnings. So here comes, there's someone's hit to the back of Juice, that is Tom, and that is an end plate missing there.
Yes, Tom's missing an end plate, and I said Frankie's entitled to defend his position, but I still wouldn't expect you to defend this hard, because he's definitely costing himself time, and he's costing all these drivers time as Tom's down right on the back of him as well. Juice is going to have just a straight slipstream. There's a bit of almost like Perez Ocon in 2018 there, squeezing towards the old pit wall there on the way down towards Eau Rouge. I'm not sure Funky will be too happy about that. He's going to have the DRS, but he's not really got anything to attack with at this moment in time. Is Tom going to have the grip to maybe get involved in all of this as well? Funky thinks about going all the way around the outside at Lecombe, nearly ends up chopping his own nose off then on the back of Juice, and Bando Brillix is still in all of this despite being on the old tyres. He's now able to keep up. All that time that Morgan lost being stuck behind Funky, he'll be pretty glad that Juice has lost it as well as Bando. I'm not quite sure why he was trying to send a move down the inside of Bushell there, because there wasn't really a gap. And because of that, that's allowed Felix to get back into this. We're going to have a really good battle, perhaps. Maybe for third place now, because obviously Tom's being really held up. He's lost an end plate, and he's a long way off the circuit into the barriers. That is a huge accident there. Don't know if he just lost the car on the runoff area, but that is a big crash. I'd be very surprised if we don't see at least a virtual safety car and possibly a full one. There we go, a full safety car. And Tim Max, Funky and Bando Blitz must be absolutely loving that.
Yeah, definitely, and it always seems to bring a classic spa, it does, in PSGL, and today has been definitely no different. There hasn't been no short battles here as well, and that's going to put people near the back into the picture again for them pitting as well. And I think Tim must be loving it at the moment, because to be honest, you're going to be on a few laps in the safety car on the tyres, and you can warm them up anyway. They're not going to be fully up to the pace as of yet, and they could potentially get to the end of this race. Morgan decides that he doesn't want the mediums anymore. He goes on to the softs. Literally everybody is going into the pits apart from Felix and Game Freaker. They decided that it's not worth it pitting under the safety car. They want to stay out, but Morgan comes out ahead of Tim Matz in the pit stops. I think what must have happened was Morgan made the move on Tim Matz, and that was job done there as well. But yeah, Tim Matz must be was playing to the safety car gods there happened, and that's put him in a net P2 at the moment.
Yeah, I think Tim Matz had a 5-second penalty, and for some strange reason on this game you can serve 5-second stop-go penalties under a safety car. I don't know why you can do it. I really wish you couldn't do it, but there we go. You basically got away with one there, haven't you? You've served your penalty under a safety car, and you're now in 4th place on a set of soft tyres. It's going to be a bit of a struggle to get them to the end of the race, but they will be doing, you'd imagine, at least 2 laps under a safety car, whereas Felix and Game Freak are comfortably getting towards the end, but they've got older medium tyres, and also Tionis has had to go onto the medium tyres. Was he one of the drivers who, after starting on the softs and doing a few runs in qualifying, just didn't have any fresh sets of the soft left?
that's the case as well, because obviously you got to use your mandatory compound as well. But if you did start on the soft and only use 2 of the soft, let me just actually have a quick look at the race director to see what the tyres he wants. So it was soft, hard, medium. So he used every tyre compound available. So I'm guessing he was a bit too greedy in soft in qualifying, didn't have enough maybe new ones as well. But he could have just used one from qualifying. It wouldn't have made any difference. But yeah, Jonas though, he's got a lot of catching up to do because he's used every tyre compound set. There's only 3 people on the mediums as well. Looks like the softs could have a little bit of an advantage. And since everyone has caught up all of a sudden, this may mean the safety car will come in probably a lot sooner than we think. As let me just go on board with Felix, who is leading the field around. And no, looks like the safety car is staying in for one more lap, even though everyone's caught up. Interesting.
Yeah, I think the safety car, once it's out for 1 lap, thinks, so I might as well have another journey round. I might as well make it worth my while and get a second lap out of this under a safety car. And that is good news for those on the soft tyres, because I think if it came in now, they might be struggling a bit towards the end. Usually 2 laps under the safety car equates to about 1 under full running. So they're basically going to be putting the equivalent of 9 laps into their tyres as Game Freak are lighting up his rear tyres, and that's going to be very important indeed, because coming out of the bus stop and coming out of La Source, you need that traction, and on cold tyres, especially the slightly older mediums, that could be very difficult indeed. So let's have a quick rundown then through the order and also what penalties they've got at this moment in time. My name is Felix in the lead, Game Freak is 2nd, Morgan 3rd, Timat is 4th, Juice, Bando and Oogie 5th, 6th and 7th with 3 second penalties each. Hulkenberger has kept it clean in 8th, Frunke, he has 6 seconds and is 9th. Vapor's clean in 10th, Poldy has 3, Fernando is also clean, Tionis and TB-Sen have 3 seconds and 3 gloves, and Sam, the last of the 16 runners, they've kept it clean as well. We saw Tom have that huge accident at Buhon. He understeered because of his broken front wing. He then oversteered into the wall on the dirty runoff area. It was a nightmare first couple of laps for the Mercedes team. This really changes some things up for a few drivers. On the Tim Mats, it's been a big help. Funky and Bando Biz as well. It's definitely helped those drivers. And it's allowed Juice to just get onto the back of Morgan again. But the problem for him, he's now got Tim Mats in the way.
He does, and do you know what? Tim Mats could basically try and defend for his life and absolutely make it work. He's improved quite a lot this season already, and I'm just looking at his past results then for him. He's 4th in the championship, so it's pretty good going. He didn't get a good result in Silverstone, but he got a good result in Australia. I said Austria earlier. I don't know why I said Austria. Probably because I'm confused with different leagues. But yeah, it was Australia in round 1, where Tim Mats got a P3, I believe, which was very good. He could be on course. He's potentially getting P3 here as well, if you can try and get past Morgan to his advantage there as well. So yeah, I mean, it's gonna be close, I think, between all these drivers. I think a lot of these drivers, because it's the last race before the Christmas break, they are going to take a lot more risk, as the safety car is in this lap and Felix is now controlling the field now.
Yeah, Felix controlling the field, just trying to weave and get some temperature in those tyres as you see the field snaking its way towards, through Stavolo, towards Blanchimont. You saw the safety car coming through then. When is Felix going to go for it? Does he want to give Game Freaker a nice long run towards the bus stop? You're not able to overtake, of course, before the checkered flag line. A few years ago, F1 experimented with it being the safety car line, so I think Felix is probably glad that it is at the start-finish line now, because that just makes it a bit easier for him, knowing that it doesn't matter if he goes early. However, he is leaving it fairly late. Sometimes you see cars do go extremely early, and they start the safety cars completely in the pit lane and parked. And I think Felix, I don't know if he's trying to just build up a bit of extra temperature in his tyres or kill the temperature on those on the softs, because this field is extremely bunched up, and Game Freaker, you can see, trying to take a wider line. Still Felix is not going for it. Now he goes all of a sudden. That was an extremely late restart, and we'll see how it works. Hulkenberger seems to have been caught out ever so slightly. He's lost out to Vapor and Frunke. Frunke trying to go all the way around the outside of Vapor at this moment. Gets a bit of wheel spin. Hardy getting ahead of Fernando as well, but the McLaren is able to fight back. Hulkenberg gets ahead of Frunke. Is Fernando going to think about chucking his nose in there? Oh, he did in the end, and he's tapped the back of Frunke. He's had a big moment, somehow saved it, but that's come across on Fernando. He's in the wall. We could very quickly get another safety car here as Morgan trying to send one down the inside of Game Freaker into the cone. There's a bit of contact between the two of them. Game Freaker just about saves it from being a full spin. Does go round ever so slightly. He now drops outside the points. And we've managed to clear all that, I believe, without any safety car. And there's Funky around again. After getting back into this race with that safety car, he's now down in 15th position with big front wing damage. Bit of an unorthodox restart, to say the least, from Felix, but it seems to have worked for him. Might have just slightly contributed to some of the chaos we saw behind, though.
Yeah, well, I think so as well. I think for some of those guys, I think the main reason why Game Freaker spun, maybe because he didn't get much temperature into his tyres as well. I did see a yellow flag briefly pop up on my screen, but that just popped away very, very quickly. So I'm guessing someone just went for the half spin and then recovered quite instantly to get back on the track. Meanwhile, Morgan is showing why the soft tyres are definitely the right tyre to be on right now as he tried to get past Felix, and Lando has left the section. Yeah, he's not very happy with that whatsoever. That marks a retirement for him. Meanwhile, Bando and Juice trying to have a battle together. Bando gets past Juice very comfortably and he's up into 4th place. Don't forget, with these battles close together, the ones without the penalties could benefit the likes of Zero, Hulkenberger and Game Freak as well now, where he is in 11th place. Maybe back into this fight. Zero now trying to have a look on Ogie for P6, which he did, as he's now go through Rouge, which I think a lot of people will be taking more cautiously now if they saw what happened with Lando in the safety car restart. So here comes Ogie, which I think he wants to make up for lost time after his poor start in the race. And we've got Morgan trying to make a move into past Felix, and now he goes into the lead. Ogie does the same into Lake Com, and he takes the lead of this battle as well. As we've got another retirement, and that's Funky, and that is in the pit lane. So he's, I think, decided to call it a night, I think, and I don't blame him.
So Funky decided he's going to start his Christmas a bit early then. He's out of the races. Oh, My Name is Felix has run wide there. Very close. In fact, I think he might have just tapped the wall ever so slightly. But more importantly for him, he's picked up a 3-second time penalty. That is going to be good news for Tim Matt. So you've got to say in his current situation, looks like he could be getting a second podium of the season. To go with that 3rd place in Australia, it might be a second here at Belgium. And that could mix up the championship ever so slightly, with Tionis down in 9th position at the moment on the set of medium tyres and with a penalty. It wouldn't be too surprising if our current championship leader ends up getting no points from this Belgian Grand Prix. So let's just see, can Tim Max close onto the back of Felix before the bus stop chicane? Looks to have a lot more pace at the moment. You can see how hard they've been pushing by the fact that they've pretty much already worn their ERS out, and he has absolutely sent one down the inside of Felix, who was not expecting that coming. Thankfully though, Felix just about saw him in time. And fair play to Tim Max. He's got the move done. He's up into 2nd place. A bit like earlier, now Felix is going to have the DRS on him down the Kemple Straight and might, despite having the lower grip tyres, might just have a chance to fight back as Azim and Zero are going to go side by side through Eau Rouge. I think they might be just about. Ogie gets ahead there of Zero, so he's back up into 6th place, and this is it. Felix, he's got the DRS open here. He's just going to sweep round the outside of Tim Max, and I do wonder, just that tiny bit of patience there might have just helped Tim Max. He'd probably been able to take that 2nd place.
And Azim, I think, went off there. Juice was going very, very slowly and hit the back of Azim, I think, and that is Juice. His race completely gone there. That was just not on at all. That looked like a nasty shot there. Luckily, Azim is still on the track and he could get going again. I think he got away with it lightly, but that was very close.
Yeah, Oogie's got front wing damage and Juice has somehow got no damage whatsoever. I mean, they've both got 5-second penalties from that Iron Man. Well, Juice has got a 5-second penalty, but I think he was am I right in saying he was ahead of Oogie, unless it was a swap round on the Kemple Straight? I'm not quite sure.
He was ahead, but he was slowing down, I think, heading toward before the Kemple Straight, and he's out the race. He's retired. So, could we see another safety car? Yeah. There is another safety car.
We do get another safety car, and that might well be Juice getting himself in a bit of trouble with the stewards, because I was on board there, and unless his controller stopped working, it didn't look like he made too much of an attempt to steer or slow down for the campus chicane. So we've got another safety car. Will we see anyone coming to the pits this time around for a set of tyres? Will Felix or Tionis think it's worth coming in? No.
Felix doesn't.
Felix doesn't. Tionis, we imagine he'd have done that earlier, although Hulkenberger comes into the pits. That is very interesting indeed. He's only done 3 laps on those tyres. I I noticed a bit of an AI symbol above his head then. I wonder if he's checked what the situation is with the race director here. And the AI's just driven him straight into the pits. Has he got front wing damage? No, he hasn't. And there's another set of softs.
Very weird.
I think he's just gone on an AI and paused and apps, and the AI's just said, fine, I'll come into the pits, because they do that quite often under the safety car for some reason. So Hulkenberg is now down into 11th place. Oogie gets a front wing change, so still might be able to get something out of this race, although he is going to drop to the back of the field. So with 5 laps remaining, it is Morgan, Felix, Team Matt, Bando Biz, Zero, Chionis, TV Sen, Game Freaker, Freagle, Sam, Hulkenberger, Howdy, and Udi. Your 13 remaining runners, and we had three retirements before the safety car. The first one. We've got 3 since that first safety car. It happens quite often once you bunch all the field together, and on different types of tyres, you can get those incidents.
Howdy to come back as well, and the likes of Azim to try and make up for lost time. And does mean with more retirements, more chance than not of scoring points, and that's very, very crucial as well if you've got no penalties as well. And with all the field bunched together as well, you'll drop way down if the guys around you do not have penalties. So you've got to get a move on it. It's been clear the whole race. I did say earlier on we would get a safety car. I was expecting more than one safety car in F7. I thought they would have kept it a little bit more clean. I expect the stewards are going to be very, very busy in F7 tonight due to those incidents we've seen before the second safety car and in the first safety car.
Yeah, if I was Krypton, I'd get himself a pot of coffee on. He is going to need it, I think. No rest for the wicked, as they say. So Morgan with no penalties. We'll go through the penalty situation again. I don't think it has changed. Everyone who's now got a penalty does have 3 seconds, but they're going to have even less time to get rid of it. There's only going to be 3 laps left when the safety car comes in, because I think it will be staying out for at least another lap. So that's only 1 lap that they get to use DRS. If you've got a penalty, you're in a bit of trouble here. If you're Felix on 9-lap-old medium tyres and Game Freak on 8-lap-old, they're really going to struggle to get any heat into them after this safety car comes in.
Yeah, I think so as well, especially for the ones who have tried to warm them up after the safety car, and then boom, there is another safety car. So, and we do have a safety car incident between Hulkenberger and Sam that had a bit of a collision there as well. Both of them got 5 seconds. Hulkenberger, that means he's in the pits, so I'm guessing that's damage there. Another incident that will probably be investigated by the stewards. Powley also goes into the pits too. It's absolutely nightmare. It's just going to be a fight for the flag here, to be honest, and whoever does not spin may come out on top, by the way this is going. As the soft tyres, he goes, does Powley. Hulkenberger, I think, is doing the same thing, and a change of front wing, he goes as well. But yeah, that is Sam's first penalty of the session, so he's not a clean bunny anymore, unfortunately. But that does mean that the safety car will probably stay out for a bit longer, maybe potentially towards the end of lap 20, I would assume.
Well, yeah, just because of the length of the track, though, it might be able to help them. The safety car's just coming around Malmedy now, and you've got Hulkenberger at the bottom of Eau Rouge in a sort of a weird situation, back on the set of soft tyres that he got rid of at the start of this second safety car. So if it was an accidental pit stop, at least he's on the same tyres, and all it's cost him is possibly any chance of getting a top 5 finish, because he's down in 13th now. But the top 3 ahead of him do have penalties. Sam might be able to get his removed, and as Kryptonite has said, more work for me. Yes, indeed, it is going to be more work then for Louis. Morgan, though, just looking pretty calm at the moment. Now he's in charge of the restart. We saw Felix leave it quite late. Will Morgan do the same, or do we think he might just try and go a bit earlier?
I mean, I think Morgan probably has learned from what to do in the previous safety car, and has probably think, right, what should I do in this one? Maybe he could go earlier. I think he can, actually, because he can then catch the likes of Felix and Tim Matz out, because people may think now that Morgan is going to do exactly the same thing as the safety car has come in this lap. It's a lot earlier than I thought it was going to be, which means it's going to be pretty much 3 laps of sprint racing, as long as they can keep it clean. Of course, hopefully not many more incidents are going to be happening, if not at all, in this race. Hopefully we can have some really good battles towards the end there. The battle for the win, it's still going to be strong, I think, between Morgan, Felix and Tim Matz as well. Don't forget Zero as well in 5th place. He's still in this too, but You can see a lot of cars going side by side going through Blanchimont. They really want to get that race going back up once again.
Yeah, it turns out Juice's Fanatec did actually disconnect, so such a shame for him. He hadn't been involved in that contact, but might have still been able to get himself some points. And it was that disconnection, it was that accident that brought out this second safety car. And Morgan does look like he's doing the same as Felix. Does look as though he is going to leave it quite late. So we'll see what happens here. Is Morgan surely now, as soon as we get out of the bus stop, surely he's going to have the traction to just drive away from Felix. And there we go. 3 laps remaining here. And it is a Ferrari in the lead. The Williams second. Timmats in third has got Bando all over the back of him. Vapor is in fifth. And as it stands with the penalties, it is going to be a double point. Well, it's going to be a double podium for the Red Bull team. So looking very good for Timmats and Vapor at the moment. Everyone making their way through turn 1 cleanly at the moment. Udi's lost a bit of time though to Sam, and Powdy might be able to try and get on the back of him at the moment. Uses overtake, gets himself a penalty. He's pushing that hard at this point in the race, but we're not really seeing too many moves. Maybe though, we might see one here with TB Sen trying to send it down the inside of Tionis. Can't get alongside far enough and has to just hold on to that position now. Tionis really in damage limitation mode and trying to get as many points as possible after damaging his front wing on that one. Hulkenberger now picks up a penalty, so that's all the bottom 4 drivers with penalties. Might still gain a place though on Sam, depending on how it is at the end of this race. Unsurprisingly though, Morgan, on that fresh set of soft tyres, has already built that 1 second gap.
He has, and I think Morgan is just pretty much checked this race, to be honest. I think we maybe should just call it a day and have a bit of coffee and start our Christmas breaks early. But no, we still got a race to run for all the drivers. Now look at that for Morgan, 1.1 seconds between them at him and Felix. Morgan must be loving life out there. I think, to be honest, if this is a track to win on for Morgan, this is it. It'll be nice for him to get his first victory in PSGL F7 this season. And I do believe, looking at the standings, we've had 2 different winners. We are probably about to see a 3rd different winner from 3 races. This is completely different to what me and Luke are experiencing in F3 and F2, where in both divisions we had 1 driver winning the first 2 races. So it's definitely something different for F7, but it's nice to see that different drivers get a chance to reach the top step of the podium, and Morgan definitely deserves that.
Yeah, he deserves it at the moment. He's 2 laps away from taking the victory. He's pretty much led since the start of this race when he got such a fantastic start ahead of Ugi Azim, and Ugi all of a sudden is down in 11th place. He was involved in that contact with Juice as well, and he's just trying to get himself back into the points out on track. Sam goes slightly defensive on the run down to Lacombe. Can Ugi go all the way around the outside at the first part, gets the position done, gets on the grass slightly on the exit, comes back onto the circuit. I don't think he had control there, and poor Powdy, just an innocent victim in all of that, gets collected, and any chance he had of getting points has gone. He's got big front wing damage. I imagine Ugi is going to have as well, so it's going to be no points for those drivers. At least though, they are able to carry on, and it looks as though Ugi got the move done. He just put a wheel on the grass, he lost control, and then as he was trying to regain control, fortunately for him, he collected the Alfa Romeo.
That was another incident there to be added to the incident book of this race, unfortunately, which will, yeah, that will definitely get them out of the points. By the way, this is going because Powdy now is on 6 seconds worth of penalty. I think I've called him a lot of different pronunciations this race, so I do apologise. But I think the bodywork's not looking too good either. Zero now has got a 3 second time penalty. I believe that's his first. Meanwhile, John is trying to have a move past Zero, and also the racing point. Oh, he is the racing point actually as well. I'm riding on board with the 1 person. But there we go. John has actually tried to defend from TB Sen as well. I'm on the final lap, and DRS has been enabled. This is going to get very, very spicy from, I would say, P3, well, P2 up, downwards.
Yeah, definitely, and I'm surprised Felix has done such a good job at the moment. It's not like Timmats has been really challenging him at this moment in time. Powdy does retire in the pit, so we are down to just 12 cars then in this race. Tionis manages to get his way ahead of Zabo, who's got no ERS whatsoever, so TV Sen is able to get that move done as well. Not so long ago, it looked like Zabo might get himself onto the podium. He's picked up a penalty and he's lost a couple of places, so he is now down into 7th place. Felix is still ahead of Timmats. There weren't really any changes any further down the field. It remains to be seen if we are going to see some more swaps. Can Bando maybe try and get himself ahead of Tim Mats? It won't be enough to change his position at the end of the race, but with stewards inquiries, you never know what's going to happen as Bando's lost it. He's had a huge moment through Pouon. Into the wall he goes. Well, just when you think you've seen everything in this race, that's another retirement. That's on 9th of the race. He was in 4th place. He's getting no points, and that's another thing that we weren't expecting to happen in this race. That's Hulkenberger back into the points after what I believe is going to be something like 4 pit stops for the Renault driver. He's now all of a sudden back into the points, and all this chaos has been going on in the final few laps. The one constant has been a Ferrari at the head of the field. He's heading around the bus stop chicane to take his first win of the season. Morgan comes across the line to win the F7 race here at Spa. Felix will cross the line second, but he will lose that place to Tim Mats. Those two swap around at the end. 3 gloves. We didn't really speak about him the entire race as Carlos Sainz his way up into 4th place. Tionis is 5th, TB Sen, Vapor, Game Freaker, Hulkenberger and Sam rounding out the points as Uri comes around the final corner, qualified on pole, ends up finishing in last, but it is Morgan who takes the victory.
Well, to be honest, I had a feeling Morgan was going to win it today, and he definitely had a good run at the start as well. And speaking of that, the Ferraris have had a good day. TB Sen has got driver of the day, so Morgan got the win, TB Sen got driver of the day, so I think Maranello must be looking pretty happy at the moment. And look at that dance move from Morgan. He's had his first taste on the top step as well. We also got a Red Bull, and we also got a Williams. We don't expect a Williams to be on a podium as well, but if I was the likes of Felix, then I wouldn't say otherwise. But yeah, we've got 3 different nationalities on the podium as well. That is quite nice as well. But yeah, Morgan takes the win, and I think there's going to be a side of many more wins to come. And I'm just looking at the championship standings. Morgan was around about, I would say, 17 points behind Jonas. Jonas is in 5th place. I think Morgan's going to close up the gap ever so slightly on the likes of Jonas and Felix at the moment, finishing ahead of both of them.
Yeah, and I think what that does mean, though, is I think Felix has actually now managed to... He'll now be up onto 36 points. That's going to be a 1-point lead ahead of Tionis going into the Christmas break. But it is Morgan who takes the victory and gets that extra point for a fastest lap. So a perfect 17 from the Welshman. Tim Mats in 2nd. Felix was 3rd. 3 gloves getting his best result of the season is 4th. Tionis recovered to 5th after that first lap incident. TB Sen last to 6th. A great result from him in the other Ferrari. Zero, Game Freaker, Hulkenberger, Sam rounding out the points. Ugi, the only finisher not to score any points. We saw Bando Powdy retire after the second safety car. Juice, Funky and Furlando retired after the first one. Tom's accident caused the first safety car, and then it was Mark and Nick Mania. It just all kicked off towards the end of that race.
It was just absolutely crazy incidents left, right and centre, but you know, I think it just goes to show if you can keep it on the track and have less incidents like the likes of Morgan and Tim Mats do, you will be rewarded and potentially get the podium spot. Same as Felix as well. It's a shame we haven't talked about 3 gloves the entire race, because I think he was just minding his own business, staying out of trouble, and that's rewarding him with some good points today as well. And he would absolutely like that, as he's 7th in the championship right now, and you know he's gonna probably climb up a little bit after he's seen Azim and Juiced not having some good races either.
Yeah, so definitely is going to have moved himself up for the order. A bit of a stealthy performance there in that race, just keeping it nice and clean. And we've said that so many times. I know I have in various commentaries I've done. If there's a late safety car and you've kept it clean, you're going to gain places. It's how I've finished in the points twice now this season.
Yeah, and that's how I finish in the points in some other leagues, for other people causing trouble and me just keeping there as well. And I do believe for the very first time we're going to have interviews on Discord for F7. I know Jake usually does them anyway, but they're actually doing it on Discord this time. I think Tim Mats is joining, so is Felix. I wonder if Morgan's going to join as well. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, we'll get the 2 drivers in from the race, and the drivers who finished in 3rd and 2nd place, and we will start then with Felix, the man who finished 3rd, stayed out on those medium tyres, and you were able to hang on to a podium.
Yeah, it was quite tough, to be honest. I knew I couldn't pit because Paco was right ahead of me. and obviously I would have had to double stack, so I had no other choice than to stay out. And to be honest, the safety car restarts were quite tricky on those cold mediums then compared to the warm softs, and yeah, in the end, just very happy to hold on to third.
Yeah, great job from yourself, and it seemed like you had pretty good pace on that second restart on the mediums. You were able to hold Tim Mats and the rest of the pack behind you.
Yeah, I think the pace of the softs actually dropped down towards the end. I've noticed that on my first stint as well. On the last 2 laps of my first stint, my pace was really slowing down, especially compared to Game Freakers. So I kind of hoped for the softs to drop down, but yeah, in the end, I think I even caught a little bit to Morgan again. But he was probably just cruising because he knew I had a penalty. But yeah, I think my mediums were then actually a bit quicker than the softs in the end.
You're only a driver who's had a podium every race this season so far. Leading the championship now, I believe, by a point. You've got to be fairly happy with how it's gone.
Yeah, well, I should definitely welcome my quali. First quali was alright, then P19, and then afterwards P9 today in quali. Doesn't make it easy for me to get those podiums, but seems to be going fairly well in the races. And yeah, like I'd take a podium at every single track if I'm honest. And yeah, consistency was always one of my strengths, so I hope that's going to continue for the rest of the season.
Yeah, well, a great performance from yourself today, and congratulations on taking a podium and the lead of the championship. And we'll come to a man who benefited a bit from that first safety car, started on the mediums, did manage to come home in the end in second place. It is Tim Mats. A great performance from yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much. Oh, I'm mentally so happy right now. Oh my god. Oh man. Yeah, that was an amazing race. I didn't expect that from P12 to P2. I'm a bit stunned.
Yeah,
and yeah, I'm so happy, so happy.
a good job from yourself. Once you started outside the top 10, was it always the plan? Were you always thinking, right, I'm going to start on the mediums, or were you tempted to start on the soft tyres? Because I know a few other drivers, TB Sen, for example, he started on the soft tyres, and they did look to obviously have the pace in the first couple of laps.
Yeah, no, I mean, it wasn't my intention to start on the mediums, because I really want to be up there with the front, but then when I realised when I had P12, I quickly realised that I had a big advantage here, say that was safety car, because I knew that I had to get past the guys in front of me so that I would be the leading runner, and if there was safety car, then I would benefit from that, and that's what happened. And yeah, and also a big thank you to my teammate who really helped me with it. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of a replica of Australia where it happened, where there also was safety car, and Bryn told me to pit in for the softs, and yeah, it's just so great to have a second podium, because my season objective this season was to get a podium, and there might even be a win, because there might be a penalty on the way for Morgan possibly, because he spun out Game Freaker. I don't know if that's going to be reported by him, but I mean, to be honest, with P2, I'm so happy and thrilled, and yeah, congratulations to both Morgan, who's my favourite teammate, and to Felix as well, for who's championship leader now.
Yeah, congratulations to yourself. I was going to say, there's only been 4 drivers that have got a podium this season, and 3 of them have got a win, and you're the odd one out at the moment. So do you think maybe France could be your chance after the Christmas break?
I mean, it could. I would have to sweat a hell of a lot, but I mean, if I want to, yes. I mean, I know that I am definitely within title contention now if I just keep up this straight line, because if you would have told me at the end of season 26 that I already have back 2 podiums here and quite possibly a win, I'd say you're nuts. So I actually say that, mate, you're nuts. You should visit the doctor. Yeah.
Good job for yourself. Jess, do you have any questions for Tim Mats?
Well, I've got to say, and great job for you getting another podium. You must be delighted, I would say, for that. Do you think you're going to carry on this consistency throughout the rest of the season? And is there any tracks that you're probably a little bit worried on the calendar at the moment that you need to practice a little bit more on?
I'd say yeah, there are a few opportunities where I could get a win here. Possibly that is Russia and the United States, because I'm like I can feel my way around it there, and the consistency. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how the season goes, but I'm aiming to knock Felix off that top spot and quite possibly aim for the title here. But yeah, I am going to try to carry this momentum in, and South Korea in the season break, that gives me more motivation to thrive and then just to absolutely knock it out of the park in France.
Me, Luke.
But, yeah, well, thanks for that question, Jess. Congrats to Tim Mats again, as we said, on getting that third place. Thanks to Felix. Well, congratulations to Tim Mats, sorry, on getting the second place, and congratulations to Felix on getting that third position and taking the lead on the championship. And Tim there referenced, obviously, to a few possible stewards' decisions. It all got a bit feisty in the final half of that race. I think once the safety car came out, everyone thought I might have a chance of getting a podium here, and they all definitely fought to try and get there.
Yeah, it was mental. It was like some fire up everyone's asses, just lit up, and then just like podium. Okay, I'm going for it, and it was just mental. And I knew that Felix was coming up right behind me, and also Bando. So I had to really defend that because I wanted to stay on track ahead of him, and this was the toughest race I've ever driven by far. So yeah, I'm quite happy that it's come to this.
Well, yeah, once again, congratulations on the podium, and hopefully you'll be making a few more podium appearances throughout the season.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for commentating as well, and Jake, if you're watching this, I hope you're well, and I hope you'll be back soon, buddy.
I'm sure they will appreciate that message. So that is that's the podium interviews from what was quite a crazy race in the end. There was plenty of action, but Morgan he looked in control as soon as he got the lead of the race, really, at the end, well, halfway through lap one.
Sorry. I didn't know you were speaking there, Tim. I'm sorry.
Jess, I've actually muted Tim on the stream, so...
Okay, good. Yeah, it was definitely quite intense towards the end there as well. I think the safety cars definitely triggered some more incidents to be had as well. And I think if it wasn't for Tom, I think we would have probably seen much cleaner races. But yeah, I think I agree that since people want to get some best positions before the Christmas break, why not take no risk? Why not take no risk, to be honest? But to be honest, there's some people that have got to get the hammer down, I think, towards the end of the season. And then maybe after Christmas, maybe France would be the best opportunity for them to get points. And that is where I believe we're going to next. I need to actually check what date it is. I believe that is the 10th of January for F7. So that is when they'll be back after Christmas.
Yeah, we've just got the calendar to come up pretty briefly there. So it will be France, our first race after Christmas. Then Monaco, Italy, Russia, Singapore, USA, Mexico, Abu Dhabi, ending at Suzuka, which for the F7 drivers will be the 7th of March. And if you do want a bit more PSGL action before Christmas, do not worry. Me and Jess will be back commentating tomorrow at 7 p.m. on F3 for myself and F2 for Jess. There's also F4 action as well, and F1, F5, and F5 and F6, I should say, will be live at 8 p.m. F1 will be returning a bit earlier than expected. They'll be back on the 4th of January as it does clash with the Challenger Series tomorrow. So thanks for the drivers for coming into the podium interviews. Thanks to Jess for joining me in the commentary box. And of course, thank you to all you guys for watching at home. And we'll see you soon for some more PSGL action.